Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, episode number 16. It is December the 10th, 2019. Essentially, all the races are behind us. There is some SoCal racing going on still. Tri-C Karters is going to roll some stuff out here with their Winter Chill Series. But for the most part, we're done. Lots to talk about, though, on This Week in Karting. Of course, our last episode was quite a while ago at the end of October. We got pretty busy through November with the SuperNationals with SuperKarts USA. David Cole was actually in Vegas as well for the Rock the Rio event. So we've been pretty busy. But otherwise, back to this podcast. This will be our maybe not our final This Week in Karting of 2019. I might sneak one more in so you give you something to listen to over the Christmas holidays. But otherwise, we're looking forward to 2020. As you guys know, with This Week in Karting, essentially David Cole grabs all the news that they put on the homepage at ekartingnews.com. We tuck that into a nice little podcast that's perfect for your morning commute or heading home from work. Excellent to listen to on the car, in the shop, if you're working on the cart, whatever it may be. We got lots to talk about. This particular edition brought to you by Briggs Racing. Briggs & Stratton is powering Operation Grassroots around the world. No other engine manufacturer is getting new and returning drivers to the kart track like the Briggs 206. The out-of-the-box performance provides the most fun, excitement, and reliability of any karting engine on the global market. Learn more about the 206 engine and the history behind Briggs & Stratton's century-long commitment to motorsports at www.briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? All right, David, This Week in Karting, last show, episode 15, was October 25th, so essentially a little over 6 weeks ago. November was crazy. Supernats, Rock the Rio, our Outlap podcasts, all your class previews. It just seemed like we put our heads down on, October the 28th and didn't lift them up till Thanksgiving.
Well, actually, till after Thanksgiving, because really we didn't get back to the office until roughly about 8 days ago on the December 2nd. So yeah, November was focused on those two events and nonstop. And of course, obviously the Thanksgiving break, we were able to enjoy some family time and some friend time and just food time to enjoy all the festivities that come with Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and again, the funny thing is the Super Nationals really wasn't even done for me until last night. I'm down here in Southern California right now. I actually went into a recording studio in Temecula and knocked out the voiceover for the show that will be on the CBS Sports Network. I think people are going to obviously love that. It's not like it was in the past when it was like the first time to see the coverage that Greenlight TV did for the Super Nationals. Now with the live show on Super Sunday, essentially that's what you're seeing, but they put it all together in one package, about an hour long. So I believe it's going to air. I'm sure SKUSA will get the official word out, but I think it's going to air this coming Sunday, actually, I believe is when it's going to be out there.
I think we get more of Kev Harris than you probably in the actual shows, because
that's true.
He's there to kind of segue the categories and provide the opening. I believe you guys did some stand-ups together. But he does a lot of solo work as the karts were on track throughout Super Sunday. Were there any interviews in the episode that we'll be able to see?
There are. There's an interview with, I think, 3 different drivers. We won't jump the gun, let you know who they are. But obviously, they interviewed all the winners afterwards as well. Coverage is fantastic. It's just one of those packages. It's going to be on Sports Network, CBS Sports Network. When I looked at the schedule, I think it's right after some of the SCCA runoffs. Some of those classes are being presented on CBS Sports Network, so they're going to roll right off of that into the SKUSA SuperNats, which is going to be really good for karting, because all these amateur racers from the SCCA are watching. They're going to see what karting's all about as well, too. And that's one of the great things about getting on network TV, the opportunity to kind of educate some people that may be watching CBS Sports Network, let them see what we do at the very top level of our sport. Now, David, you got lots here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes here for this particular edition of This Week in Karting. You're the news desk manager. You quarterback all this stuff. Let's just start rolling out with some of the information that hit the airwaves pretty much in late October and November. November.
Let's start with going into the 2020 season, because obviously it's just around the corner. We got to start talking about the events that are going to be coming up, especially the winter programs. And one of the most popular ones and most historic ones being the Florida Winter Tour, as they're going to return in the 2020 season. Rock Cup Promotions going to be hosting that program. Their first opening event is going to be January 16th through the 19th in Miami, Florida. Now, mind you, this event and the third event, we still do not have exact locations yet as to where these races are going to take place, but they're both going to be temporary circuits. The third one being March 5th through the 8th in St. Petersburg, Florida. We have an idea of where it is. We saw an image, a photo that they shared online. I kind of believe I know where it is.
What are you thinking?
Tropicana Field, where the Tampa Bay Devil Rays play. There's a lot of parking lot there, so I think it's going to be there. I believe the Miami event's still going to be at Hard Rock Stadium. Again, they said two miles from the beach, which kind of equates to where Hard Rock Stadium is located. But again, nothing confirmed. But obviously, different layouts going to be for both of those events, both temporary circuits. So again, Rock Cup USA Promotions going to be doing 2 temporary events. The middle event going to be February 13th through the 16th at Ocala Grand Prix. So going back to Ocala Grand Prix with the Florida Winter Tour, a very long-standing location for that program.
I ran the Florida Winter Tour back when it was a SKUSA program with Bill Wright at Ocala. I want to say it was right when they first started going. I think it was 2000. On a CTS chassis in the 125 class, an S3 rookie. It was fun. Good time. Now,
S3 rookie.
Rookie.
Yeah, novice now. It's called novice now.
Yeah, that's what it was back then, man. It was a rookie category. It was my first couple of races ever in a 125 shifter. Now, interesting about the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour, the St. Petersburg date, March the 5th to the 8th, as you mentioned, David, the week before the IndyCar race. It's St. Petersburg. I drive by the Tropicana Field every time we come through, when I'm announcing for Road to Indy and IndyCar Radio, and I see that there, and I'm kind of wondering I wonder how big that parking lot is. Could they actually use that? So that's a potential. You and I think that's probably where it's going to be. How much of a connection will Rock Cup have potentially with Green Savory Racing, the promoters of the IndyCar weekend? It's a weekend before. Are they going to be able to somehow make this part of the IndyCar program? That'd be some cross marketing, I think.
Yeah, that's something we don't have any firm 100% confirmation on that. They were down there again, as we said. We saw an image of them going down there, staking out the actual parking lot that they'll be in. Again, nothing confirmed. But I would assume that with a lot of racing going on in that area for a whole month. Probably leading up to it with all the preparation for the track being built and stuff like that, and all the promotional events that are going on. Yeah. I believe there's that week there's the karting charity race that Sebastian Bourdais and Patrick Long hold at I believe at the racetrack. Do they not?
Yeah, it's in the opening corner. We raised a bunch of money for the Children's Hospital, Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital there, racing for kids, and yeah, it's Patrick Long and Sebastian Bourdais. I believe it's the Tuesday. I think it's the Tuesday before the race starts. I've had a chance to announce it the last couple of years. Just a great way for all the IndyCar guys, or Road to Indy guys, and some sports car guys to come on out, raise a bunch of money. And you're right, David. It's a festival, right? These IndyCar races, especially the street races, are kind of like week-long festivals. If indeed this race is part of it, the Rock Cup Winter Tour, it could roll right into that week. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and the other thing that they confirmed also were the categories that were going to run there. Obviously, all the standard Rock Cup USA categories with Mini, Micro, Rock Junior, Rock Senior, Rock Master, Shifter Rock, and Shifter Rock Master. They're also going to have the Junior and Senior 100cc categories. That will include both the VLR engine and the IMEK 100 engine. So it's still going to be the combined mixed engine category. They're also going to run though the Briggs Junior, or Briggs 206 Junior and Briggs 206 Senior classes for the Florida Winter Tour. So a lot of categories, a lot of different options for a lot of the racers that are looking to get the 2020 season started.
Yeah, Florida Winter Tour, again, a 3-race series, one weekend in January, February, and March. Now, David, let's go to another schedule announcement, kind of a different community within the sport of karting and our family within the sport. Cup Karts North America finally announcing their 2020 schedule. I think a very anticipated announcement. And David, they've made a bit of a change. And I think the change, and we'll talk more about it once you go through the schedule, because of this massive success that's starting to happen, this support for this program that Greg Jasperson and Steve Vermeer have put together, there's a lot of interest in it. massive race last year at the Grand Nationals. The 2020 Grand Nationals is going to be absolutely huge, but they're going to some different venues for this particular year, kind of expanding the reach of the Cup Karts North America program.
When you look at the schedule for their Champions Cup program, it's still 5 events that they're going to do, same as last year. But really only one new racetrack they have not been to, and then 4 they have been to, but only 1 returning from last year. So that's kind of the dynamic that the schedule kind of unfolds as we go through this year. They're going to begin the season now in April instead of May, moving the Spring Nationals into April. It's going to be April 17th through the 19th, and they're going to Whiteland in Indiana, which is just south of Indianapolis. So Whiteland Raceway Park, obviously is getting a lot of attention with the new ownership that had taken over last year, putting a lot of money and structure into the facility to be what it was when it began. Probably 50 years ago, I believe, give or take a couple of years, as a grassroots home for karting in the Indianapolis area.
Yeah. Also, obviously, what Sarah Fisher and Ando Aguirre have done, they've put a lot of investment into that track, and great to have another facility like that in the Indianapolis area. Starting off with the Spring Nationals, that was a big race last year. I think it was at Concept Haulers last year, Motor Speedway, right?
It was at Concept Haulers, but so the Concept Haulers event now that's the only returning track from last year. That's going to move to June 5 through 7. So that's going to be the 3rd event of the year. The 2nd event going to be in May 15, 17, heading up a little bit towards me, East Lansing Kart Track, another vintage racetrack in our sport, been around for decades. I was there probably since I was knee high to a grasshopper. So I've been there a long time. My last race there was probably a couple years ago with the Bobby Hahn Memorial Race. So East Lansing was on the schedule in 2018. So Cup Karts North America has been there before, took a year off, going back there again this year. And then again, as I said, Concepts Hauler going to be after that. That's in Norway, Illinois. July 10th through the 12th is going to be taking the program back down to the Mid-State Kart Club in Springfield, Illinois. Another great grassroots kart club that, again, the track's club owned, does a lot. They have a lot of volunteers that do a lot of work around the facility. They continue to pave and pour concrete all over the facility for not only the track, but I believe they're building some garages there as well. So they're always trying to upkeep the facility down there in Springfield. And then everything closes up for the Champions Cup in August 21 through the 23rd at the C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex at Road America. So the program going back to Road America again and going to wrap up that championship program there in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Yeah, 4 different states as well, in Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And then we wrap it all up, David. As you said, Grand Nationals 4 at Newcastle, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We had a chance to run at that event this past year, and it really fueled the momentum, I think. And I wrote a morning coffee column afterwards. It felt like it was those early Super Nationals that I was at in 97, 98, and 99, when it was, man, we're really part of something special here. Something's growing. And to be able to have this major event in the Midwest like they've had at Newcastle Motorsports Park, more guys are coming. People have had FOMO last year that they weren't able to be there. The fields are going to be even bigger this year. I can't wait to go back there in October.
I think we'll probably have the Masters group is probably going to be split up, very similar to CIK Medium last year. Yeah. CIK Heavy may be the same as well, and they may have to start looking at separating cadets and juniors as well. So it's going to be a very interesting lead up to that event, because if the numbers do grow over that 300. And I believe 350 is the mark you set out maybe for it to be at next year or in 2020.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's really going to have to shake things up in the way the event unfolds and how it's conducted, because again, they're still trying to make it a grassroots event, because it really is. And so they're still trying to allow those people to not have to be there on Friday if they choose not to be there, to come in on Saturday morning, get a couple practice sessions in, and then go racing. So that's going to be the challenge. we'll see how everything unfolds up until then. But again, the numbers that he'll get in the Champions Cup will probably dictate kind of how they unfold everything for the Grand Nationals 4.
One of the other pieces of news that came out on eKarting News just before we went to the Super Nationals came out of the camp of the SimCraft 24 Hours of Orlando. Of course, that 24-hour round-the-clock event that TJ Halsman's putting on down at Orlando Kart Center. He's kind of trying to pattern it off the Granja 500, the iconic race that happens every year down in Brazil. They want to have an American version of the Granja. A ton of momentum right now. I want to say 36 teams or something like that already signed up of the max 40 that they had. Some great momentum this year. But they came out with some news that they have partnered with a company called Pride. They will be the official apparel supplier with event gear, team gear for competitors. And as I said, David, just 4 spots remaining. Final registration day, I think, is Monday, right? December 15th, I believe, the final day to register.
Yeah, December 15th is the last day to register. They have 4 spots remaining. Those 4 spots have to be personal karts, personal engines. They did have a program where it was a rental engine through Target Distributing or a new purchase through Target Distributing. So it will be it's a bring your own engine spots, but still 36 teams that are going to be competing there for 24 hours. That'll be amazing just to see how everything kind of unfolds, because over 24 hours, you never know what's going to happen. Obviously, the reliability of the Briggs engine is not going to be in question. But again, you never know if a chain's going to break or a gear's going to get bent or a tire's going to go flat or steering rods get bent by contact. You just never know what's going to happen. So it's going to be really cool to see how 36 teams take to the 24 hours.
You know, Dave, to me, this is one of the parts of the really positive momentum we have in the sport right now. We've got some amazing one-off races that have really stepped up. You know, the Battle of the Brickyard was massive this year. Just such the iconic chance to be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But with all that momentum it's getting, the Cup Karts Grand Nationals growing as well. Then you've got this 24-hour race that is really starting to solidify itself. There's 36 teams of drivers that are going to go do this thing. They're only allowing 40. There's 4 more spots. Next year, it's going to be packed for sure. It's going to be full. TJ's doing a great job. Him and his whole staff, USAC Karting involved in it. They are putting together that one race that we've been looking at, and that's to try to get a 24-hour race here, very similar to Granja. There's the 24 Hours of America that runs as well. With the guys from Pro Cup Karting. There's some great racing happening right now, and this is a lot of it's like the grassroots. You know, the SKUSA Pro Tour, great numbers. Obviously, the Rock de Rio made some big steps this year to get over 300, but there's just such great momentum, David, at the bottom of the pyramid, that foundation of the sport that we always talk about. For a while, people were worried about it, but with that Briggs 206 doing what it's done, to be real, that foundation is looking stronger than it has been, I think, probably for the 20 years I've been doing this.
Well, you have to make things affordable in order to get the numbers up there, and that's what the Briggs and Stratton 206 package has been able to do. Now you're able to do these endurance events where before it was with the IAME products. Now they last. Don't get me wrong, they go a long time, but the maintenance budget is a little bit higher on those types on the tag engines than it is for a Briggs 206, because those things will just keep on going. And it's same thing with with Cup Karts Grand Nationals. It's affordable racing. That's really where we're thankful that we've gotten back to providing, because essentially that's what karting was. It was for people who couldn't go out and spend the gobs of money to go car racing. It was so you could go out to a local track on a Saturday or a Sunday and get your speed fix. And thankfully our sport has gotten back to that.
That is exactly it, David. When I first wanted to get into racing, my dad was a stock car driver. I was in love with racing all my life, but there's no way I had the money to be able to buy a stock car, a massive trailer, whatever it may have been. But I bought my first go-kart MXK with a Honda G200 engine on it. I don't know, GX1, GX180 or GX160 or something like that, GX200. And I ended up buying that for $1,700. And I would not be in the sport if it wasn't for the fact of an affordable used go-kart. And that is bang on. You hit the nail on the head. All right, folks, we're heading to our first commercial break right now. When we get back, David's going to talk a little bit about the WKA. In fact, WKA will dominate our next segment here, the World Karting Association. Stay with us. Rob Howden, David Cole, episode 16 of This Week in Karting.
For over a century, Briggs & Stratton has had a commitment and passion for racing. It's a DNA found in every engine we build today. So whether you kart race, Baja, race quarter midgets, or believe that dirt and snow are just God's way of adding to the challenge, the dedicated spirit of every Briggs & Stratton employee stands at the fence waiting for the green flag to drop. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you?
When you think racing tire in the U.S., one name stands out: Huger. The history of Huger Racing Tire is one of an American dream and is the tire designed for champions. At the end of 2018, Margay Racing became the sole United States and Canadian karting distributor, establishing Hoosier Kartsport. Throughout 2019, Hoosier Kartsport has expanded the Hoosier brand to kart shops, tracks, clubs, and racing series across North America, focused on grassroots programs. 4 different compounds are available through Hoosier Kartsport. The R55 is among the most popular with shifter kart categories. The R60 and R70 serve the 2-cycle and 4-cycle community at the club and regional level. The R80 is the official compound of the Margay Ignite program. The Hoosier Wet has been tested to the limits and ranks among the top rain racing tire in karting today. With a wide range of compounds and a made-in-the-USA racing heritage, Hoosier Kartsport has the tire you need for your track, series, or personal racing needs. Head to HoosierKartsport.com today to find your nearest dealer and follow them on all social media platforms by searching Hoosier Kartsport. You've heard and read about us. We're the Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. After putting all 8 of our X30 senior drivers in the main at last year's SKUSA SuperNationals, we're the tent you need to be under this November. We have just 4 spots available, so contact us today to lock in one of our final opportunities. We may be prepping for Las Vegas, but it's also time to talk about 2020. Joining the Rawlson Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Our industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and former Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. In 2020, we'll be racing in the SKUSA Winter Series, Pro Tour, and California Pro Kart Challenge, as well as the IKF Northwest region. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. We do have different levels of programs available for the IKF Sprint Grand Nationals at Pat's Acres on the September 20, 21-22 weekend. So if you want to get a head start on 2020, come up and join us and take your shot at winning a Duffy, one of the most prestigious trophies in the sport. We're the Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. Hello to everyone here in EKN Nation. Episode number 16 of This Week in Karting is December the 10th. My name is Rob Howden. David Cole, our news desk manager, joining me here today. David, we got a lot of news coming out about the WKA over the last couple of weeks, last month, because really they're prepping to get ready to go. They're heading to Daytona, in probably about 10 days to start working their way down, because WK Kart Week, the 45th running of that great event, coming just around the corner.
Yeah, I'm sure next week they'll actually be preparing the facility for the event, getting everything done so that way people are allowed to go home for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then come turn around on the 26th and be ready to start welcoming everybody into the Daytona International Speedway facility. As you said, a lot of things have come out over the last couple of weeks for the event and for the 2020 season, especially the WK and Rock Cup promotions getting together and providing an engine promotion and prize package for the upcoming season. The promotional pricing structure is up until February 29th. That includes a micro and mini engine for $1,300, the VLR for a $1,300 price point, the Rock GP engine for $2,400, Rock shifter for $3,300, And that is based on a paid entry into the WK Daytona Kart Week event or the WK Orlando event that will be in February.
Yeah, pretty impressive numbers. Obviously, Rock making an investment to try to see if they can't get some stability in that WKA Manufacturers Cup program, but some pretty good pricing on those engines as well. Talk more about the fact that, David, they've got some great stuff as well when we're looking at the 100cc junior and 100cc senior classes in the Rock VLR for the Manufacturers Cup.
Yeah, they're also providing the first 10 entries in the 100cc junior and 100cc senior classes who register for all 4 Manufacturers Cup events by December 10th, which is today, will receive a VLR engine for the price of $500 and shipping. Oh. So a very bargain price for those who are looking to do that 100cc. We know a lot of mini drivers moving up into the 100cc category for this year. Or just Briggs racers that are looking to maybe do some Manufacturer Cup racing, have the opportunity to do a 100cc senior category. So obviously providing that carrot to get them out there and go racing.
And indeed, a pretty tight connection between the WKA and Rock Cup. Obviously, something new that happened here in the second half in the fall of 2019. Prizes up for grabs for the Daytona event. The Manufacturers Cup event is part of Kart Week for all classes. A first place finish, an entry package into the entire 2020 Florida Winter Tour. If you finish second at Daytona, a single event package in the 2020. Same as well for if you finish second or third. So if you win at Daytona, it's a full entry package for the Florida Winter Tour. A lot of cross promotion, David, between these two organizations to try to get things and momentum rolling for the Rock within Rock Cup and within the WK Manufacturers Cup.
Yeah, if you win a class at Daytona, you might as well just park it in Florida for the next 3 months because, you'll have that. You'll have all 3 of those races plus that WK Winter Cup event in Orlando in February. So lots of racing going on in Florida that is specific towards the Rock and
talk a bit about the WK Florida Winter Cup as well. That's something new here, I believe, for this year. Not totally new. They did it a couple of years ago, but back again for 2020, right?
Yeah, with their restructuring that they did for the 2020 season, they decided to provide a 2-event program for the WK Florida Winter Cup, which includes Daytona and that February event in Orlando. The champion from that from that program will receive a full entry package to the 2020 Rock the Rio event. Second place in the championship will earn a entry to Rock the Rio, and then third place will receive race tires for the 2020 Rock the Rio in Las Vegas this November. So lots of great prizes. Not to mention podium finishers in the Briggs & Stratton 206 cadet class will receive a micro or mini Rock engine rental courtesy of WKA at the Rock the Rio event. So lots going on.
Yeah, more prizes coming for the mid-season shootout as well, the year-end championship. So a lot happening within Rock and WKA. One of the big things too, David, was the WKA actually adding some of the Rock Cup USA officials to the program, including the race director Chuck Yoder and some of his support staff as well.
Yeah, a little bit a change for WKA to regarding structure-wise. They were trying to find basically, to be honest, they're trying to find who was going to take over as a lead race director. They had some people in place, good, bad, or ugly. It just didn't work out, and they parted ways. And so this partnership with Rock Cup USA and Rock Cup Promotions provided the opportunity for them to bring in their actual race staff and on track and off track to be able to support what the WK events that they'll be doing in 2020. So we'll see how that commingle works out through Daytona. Obviously, Daytona is kind of a monster of its own, being at Daytona. A very short day, as we know, the daylight hours go really quickly. So we'll see how everything unfolds there, but really more so towards the remainder of the season when the Manufacturers Cup program moves on and they have all their other special events throughout 2020.
David, other big news for the WK, the World Karting Association, signing on a new presenting sponsor, one of the really iconic names in American motorsports.
Yes, something that was happening throughout the 2019 season, had a little bit of commingling going on there. Summit Racing Equipment was really interested in what karting was doing right now, and got connected with the World Karting Association, and had a little bit of a soft opening, if you want to say, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway during the karting challenge there, with the road racing and the Manufacturers Cup event going on there. So now for 2020, Summit Racing Equipment has said, we're all in. We love what you guys are doing. We love what the sport provides for not only the motorsports industry, but just for racing itself. So they have decided to agree to a multi-year agreement as the presenting sponsor for all national programs with the WKA. So that's going to provide a lot of good cross promotion between Summit Racing Equipment and WKA, along with WKA racers and members getting a little bit of some swag and some gift cards and a little bit of this and a little bit of that from Summit Racing Equipment. So, it's kind of what, our sport really needs. And we always keep looking for is that support, outside support into our sport to help, give not only give awareness, but give back to the racers as well.
Yeah, Summit Racing Equipment's just an absolutely massive company within the motorsports world. I know 1 million of parts in stock, free shipping on orders over $99. So good on WKA for being able to develop a solid relationship there with Summit Racing Equipment. All right, jumping into the next break of the action, when David and I get back here on the EKN Radio Network, we're going to talk about a new dealer for Burrell Art North America. We'll also talk about a Formula One driver putting another name on badging up a kart as well. And one of the icons, of course, of American racing, American karting, Gary Carlton. We'll talk more about what he's got going for 2020. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. As a world leader in personal racing safety products with a sales and service staff and dealer network unmatched in motorsports, Simpson Performance Products is now the official North American distributor for Stilo helmets. In addition to their wildly popular auto racing helmets, Stilo is extremely excited to have made their move into the karting community with a pair of stellar options. Stilo has 2 helmets designed and manufactured specifically for karting: the Stilo ST5 CMR 2016 for kids, and the Stilo ST5 Kart Snell K 2015 adult karting helmet. The company's karting helmets are directly derived from Stilo's auto racing helmets that are so popular at the top levels of racing. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, as well as Stilo's lightweight construction and unparalleled field of vision, a crucial attribute for karting. For more information on Stilo, check them out at simpsonperformanceproducts.com/Stilo or by following them on social media at Stilo USA. Rotax is officially back in America, and J3 Competition is the iconic brand's new importer and distributor for the United States. With a focus on top-notch customer service and unparalleled product support, J3 Competition is excited to work with club and regional series to build the Rotax community across the United States. For 2019, J3 Competition formed its Stars and Stripes racing program, which highlights its national Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals ticket events. The 2 events, the Stars and Stripes Open and the Stars and Stripes Trophy, awarded tickets to 10 drivers to participate in the Rotax Grand Finals in Italy, the sport's most talked about global event. Rotax is a global leader in 2-cycle technology, and alongside J3 Competition, who brings more than 75 years of experience to the brand here in the U.S., the industry is safe with a bright future. Check out the new Rotax USA program at racerotax.com. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. This is episode number 16 of the This Week in Karting podcast, December the 10th, 2019. Almost done the season. David, let's jump back in with some chassis news and some team news because we got a lot going on. Burrell Art North America, one of the big signings that they had late in the season was to bring Texan Jake French on board to kind of head up their shifter kart program here in North America. And when that kind of happened, it also kind of paved the way for a new dealer, as Jake's parents, Mark and Gina French, and their Full Gas Motorsports program have actually become a new dealer in Texas for Burrell Art.
Yeah, it's a great combination. Obviously, when you sign a driver, you want him to be all in and working with the operation year round. And what better way to do that than to form a dealer down in Texas, where they actually live, down in the Dallas, Texas area. So with Jake French, obviously being the one of the lead drivers with PSL Karting and Burrell Art North America, him and his family with father Mark and mother Gina are all in on forming up the Full Gas Motorsports operation. Obviously, they're probably going to be working based out of Denton, Texas. We know they love they love that racetrack, but they're really going to focus on all club and regional races throughout northern Texas and throughout the area. We know the French family has already been working with Alan Rudolph down at Speed Sports Raceway Park, and so they got a good rapport going on down there. So it looks like they're really looking at building that Burrell Art brand throughout the state of Texas.
Yeah, one of the things about Mark and Gina, obviously, they also own P1 Promotions. They had run the Texas Pro Kart Challenge for the last number of years. They've stepped away from that SKUSA regional program for 2020. They're actually going to put a trio of races on themselves, including the Lockhart Grand Prix, as we go back to the streets of Lockhart. They're going to do an event at Amarillo as well, and they'll do one at Coda Karting at the Circuit of the Americas. So they've got the promotion side of the company. They've got the Full Gas Motorsports as a dealer for Burrell Art North America and PSL Karting. Yeah, it's just going to be, I think, if you're a Burrell dealer down in Texas, it's just going to be that level of support, because Jake French and his dad Mark, they've been top level a driver father wrench duo for the longest time. Mark knows his stuff, and I think that I think people running the Burrell product down in Texas are gonna be very happy. It's great to have passionate people behind it, David, and that's the key to here for the Frenchies, I think.
Oh, for sure. And I'm really looking forward to seeing. I'm sure once now that we're in the 2020 calendar year, or almost calendar year, what they have in store for the Lockhart Grand Prix, because as you know, we both got to take part in that previously, and so we know what the city of Lockhart has to offer, especially in food, something that we always enjoy when we go to events. But just because we love street racing as well, so we have Rock Island Grand Prix, we have Quincy Grand Prix, and now you add, and then Streets of Lancaster Grand Prix, you add, we bring back the Lockhart, and now exactly. So lots of street racing getting momentum here in North America.
Speaking of the Burrell Art North America program, working with Burrell Arts is the driver Charles Leclerc, of course, the F1 driver for Ferrari, formerly running with the Art GP team. So there's that connection with the Burrell Art, the Art GP team. Claude Leclerc, David, actually going to launch his own chassis range, so essentially getting that logo, that name on a chassis getting built by Burrell.
Yeah, it's going to be manufactured by them, available in all the different sizes with baby, mini, OK, junior, KZ, Rotax, and even rental categories. So full range of chassis with his branding on it. They've already had a race team, the Lennox race team out of the UK, signed on to be for 2020. So they'll be promoting that brand throughout Europe and all the international events that happen over there. And of course, here you can get it through PSL Karting and probably through all the Burrell Art dealers that are available throughout North America.
A couple of former SKUSA SuperNationals racers as well, Charles Leclerc and Jordan Lennox, both running at the SuperNationals. So good to see those two guys together. Charles is obviously going to be one of the future stars of F1. A tremendous season this year with Ferrari, really stepped things up, and we've got that next generation of F1 drivers moving, and just to have that connection to karting again. It's a Burrell project, of course. Charles is putting his logo, his name on it, but the bottom line is it's a top Formula One driver, completely connected to karting, who's going to continue to expose our sport inside the motorsports world, all the fans, and outside that as well. I think it's a big thing. I think it's a big positive.
Yeah, it's something we saw with Ricciardo brand and Daniel doing that throughout the world, and we see it growing and growing. So yeah, and any form of promotion for karting is good.
Let's go to guys putting their names on carts, and let's go to one of the absolute icons of American karting over the last 25 years. Maybe not 25 for this driver in total, but we've had a chance to watch Gary Carlton become this young kid in the 80 classes and the junior classes, step up to become one of the top drivers in the ICC classes, running with Track Magic and other programs. Ended up going to Europe with CRG, Formula K, all the different organizations that he was able to run as really the only American to ever be a professional driver for one of the factories. He comes back here, resets his life, and starts GFC, his own chassis line. So Team GFC, of course, we've seen it kind of grow the last couple of years. It's been really interesting to watch it, David, hasn't it? To watch really the first time we've seen someone who has progressed all the way from a junior, senior, factory driver in Europe, living that dream, and then coming over and putting his own name on his own chassis line and just living it. Just absolutely, live your passion, I believe is Gary's tagline for the company. But here's a guy that just does not stop working, testing, working, and really putting together a program that has become one of the top teams, I think, in North America.
Yeah, it's definitely growing to be that. Obviously, already having a lot of success over the first year that it's been in existent, winning at Rock the Rio last year in 2018, obviously sitting on the podium again, both at Rock the Rio and the SuperNationals as well with Matias Ramirez. So it's getting that culture. Obviously, as we saw when they brought the Track Magic brand back at the SuperNationals just a few weeks ago, it had that loyalty. So he has that family atmosphere or not family atmosphere, but that culture behind him to help grow the brand. And a lot of people, they know what Gary's about, and Gary's about business. He's about getting the best out of not only you, but everybody around you. So I think that's going to definitely help him as he continues to expand the GFC brand from coast to coast, because that's essentially what he's looking to do in 2020.
So again, this week in karting, the podcast where we kind of give you the news we put on EKN, and this was one of the news items that did come out, and it was Team GFC. Gary's essentially saying what they're going to be doing for 2020. He'll be running on the East Coast in the Florida Winter Tour with the Rock Cup with one of his dealers from the East Coast, to Mike Rivera from Rivera Racing. On the West Coast, he's committed to the Challenge of the Americas, the Rock Sonoma program, which is kind of his home track, home base, the California Pro Kart Challenge, and also the KPX Karting Championship, the 4-cycle category, the Briggs series with Briggs, and a couple of the IAME classes. I thought that was a very interesting thing for Gary to focus a bit on grassroots as well. Of course, he'll be at the Rock the Rio and SuperNationals in 2020. One of the big things, David, that this particular news bit came out with, which I thought was interesting, they've launched their RR5 Cadet chassis. So Gary's expanded his brand from obviously KZ and the top-level shifters all the way down to Cadet. They also teased about a Team GFC Young Driver Development Program, which I thought was very interesting. I think it was on, might have been on Instagram, talking about Nico Sarfati coming on board with him as well. Gary's doing all the right things to develop that strong foundation, the base of his program.
Well, I think that's where you see the GFC program going to KPX and the California Pro Kart is for that young driver development program.
Yep.
Because especially with the KPX program, you have the Briggs and the K100 engine programs that are able to help develop a driver, because as he did, he had that slow development from slower to faster type engines, where I think he has that same type of thought going into his own team driver development, and get these kids out there on something to where they can learn how to be smooth and fast, and then move them up from there, rather than just throw them into the lions and have them go.
Well, and any team owner like Gary is not just a team owner, he's a driver himself, but he's also a coach, right? His idea is you want to get a young driver when they're moldable. Same if you're a ski instructor, you want someone that's real free, that doesn't really know the sport. You can take them all the way through. And Gary, I think with his young driver development program, he's thinking about, hey, I want to get a kid when he's 9 or 10 years old. I want to develop him for the next 7 years. Let's get this guy right into the mold of Gary Carlton, and we'll start winning races all the way through. So I'm excited about that. We'll learn more about it, of course. I'm lining up an industry insider interview with Gary, hopefully this week, if all works out well. So you'll hear more from Gary here on the EKN Radio Network. Looking at success from the Supernats, this was obviously some information that came out afterwards. One of the big stories, of course, was Danny Formal able to win in the KZ category with Greg Bell from Leading Edge Motorsports on the Formula K, taking on the reigning world champion in Martin Kremers from PSL Karting. Tremendous team, tremendous driver. Formal able to kind of bring on things strongly in the second half of that 25-lapper on Super Sunday. Big news for Formal, and this is really going to give him an opportunity. And I actually talked to Greg Bell about this afterwards when this kind of came out, and Greg's super happy for him. Danny's going to get a really cool opportunity in 2020. Of course, Danny living in Costa Rica. He's actually going to be moving with his wife to Miami, living in Boca Raton potentially, I think. But he is going to be the lead driver for the new karting program at ANSA Motorsports. Now, ANSA, it's coaching and a driver development program in karting, but ANSA's also one of the major teams in the IMSA LMP3 category. They have a Lamborghini Huracan as well. There's going to be an opportunity for Danny to get into some car racing, which he's done a little bit of it in Costa Rica. This is a great chance for him to bring his karting skills, all his his speaking ability, his coaching ability, to work with ANSA's karting program as a coaching and driver development leader, but also get a chance to jump in behind the wheel of an IMSA LMP3 car. Because, David, you and I have watched him for so many years, coming off that victory at KZ. Here's a talented driver who just really needed an opportunity.
Talk much. I don't think Danny Formal talks much, does he? Yes, definitely a very cool opportunity for Danny to take advantage of, moving back here to the United States from Costa Rica. And as you said, getting into cars is something very unique, and not everybody has the opportunity to take advantage of that. And so for this to open up and not only to promote his driving abilities up the motorsports ladder, he also has the ability, as you said, to keep to build a karting franchise down there in Florida as well with ANSA. Again, he was he has the ability to be fast. We've seen that 3 victories at the SuperNationals, coming off a victory over the reigning world KZ champion in Martin Kremers. Definitely, we know he has the ability to be among the best in the world. And so now he has the opportunity to take that skills and push it on to others who are interested in being in the sport. And it's probably not only just but kids, but elder drivers or gentleman drivers, as you would say, guys who are interested in car racing. He could take them over to the kart track and help massage their driving abilities there. That may help them moving into the car side of things. So a very cool and unique opportunity for him. And he already got in the car now for 2 days, I believe, testing at Daytona already.
Nice. And you're right. One of the cool things, the factors that testing back and forth, the car drivers for ANSA can get some more seat time in karts down in Florida, which is great. ANSA Motorsports in the karting program, I believe the focus will be the Florida Winter Tour and the Sunshine State Karting Challenge for 2020, maybe some other national races, but that program really just starting getting going. Well, they picked a good one, though, folks, for sure. Danny Formal, definitely one of the best we have in our sport right now. Jumping into another commercial break, we get back. We're going to talk about the Quincy Grand Prix. We're going to talk about local karting back in Utah. We're going to talk about a new coaching program as well, and another pretty cool thing within the industry that we'll talk about, all here on This Week in Karting on the EKN Radio Network. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience. We can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away and we ship daily. We're constantly adding new products to our online store, so keep checking back. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find molecule cleaning products, minus 273 racing gloves, micron gauges and components, and both MG and Bridgestone tires. If you're ready to take your racing to the next level, come and join us at Team FMS. We've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for many years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or at a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. We're
2019, we'll be attending the SuperKart USA Winter Series, WK Manufacturers Cup, United States Pro Kart Series, and the Route 66 Kart Racing Series. And we'd love to have you under our tent at Merlin Nation. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. The 2019 season has been an exciting year for Rock Cup USA, and the schedule is set to close out its biggest event on the calendar, Rock the Rio. Rockers will converge on the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas to celebrate Halloween week, competing at this premier international event on October 28th to November 2nd, all around a challenging temporary circuit with the Las Vegas Strip in the background. Rock Cup USA programs are wrapping up their 2019 seasons across the country, including the Rockies in Colorado, Rock Sonoma, and California Rock Championships in California, and many other clubs across North America. Learn more about the Rock the Rio event and all things that are rock at rockcupusa.com.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, episode 16 of This Week in Karting, the podcast perfect for your morning commute or heading home on that drive back from work. Download it, get it on your phone, iTunes, Google Play. You can stream it, of course, through the website as well. I think it's on Spotify too, David. We got that hooked up on Spotify. Lots more to come here on this one. We got, actually, no, not that much. We got about a page and a half still to go. David, one of the big things that happened a couple of years ago was the return of the Quincy Grand Prix, the park race in Quincy. Just a legendary event in this sport. I had a chance to race it back in like 1997 or 98. I can't remember which. I think it was 97. Bottom line is Terry Trader continues to do more and more with this event. They raise the bar in terms of safety, bringing in so many barrier systems, and they've really done an amazing job with the race. He's stepping things up. Terry just wants to keep putting the hammer down. Really, the 50th anniversary of the event, David, they just added a $10,000 purse.
Cash money, baby. You know, that was a big part of Quincy for a while, from what I recall, you telling me stuff like that. But it's $10,000 for 4 categories: Pro Shifter Open, Pro Shifter 125, Pro Briggs, and Pro Yamaha. So those will be 4 of the pro categories that will run all weekend long, and at the end, crowning a winner, and of course, prize money down, probably, I'm assuming, through the top 5, but they have not released an actual prize structure down to us, but a $10,000 purse anyway for the 4 categories.
1999 SKUSA King of the Streets was at Quincy. Do you remember who won it, David? My turn to ask you a question.
Alan Rudolph.
On what chassis?
Was that the PCR?
Nope. Oh, I thought it was good. Yes, on Alan Rudolph.
I thought it was on the PCR.
I don't think so.
PCR with Yamaha power.
He was on the Haas.
No, chassis. I think you're full of it.
It's the cover of the magazine.
You're full of it.
I don't think I'm full of it, Dave. I think he's on the Haas. We'll go look at that. I'm pretty sure he was on the Haas.
I have the photo. I'll have to find it, but I have it.
Bring it out. I'm pretty sure it's the Haas.
All right. We'll look back anyway.
The Saturday sprint race is returning for 2020 as well for Briggs Heavy, Yamaha, Margay Ignite, and Open Shifter. Sunday classes, in addition to the pro class we just mentioned, Briggs Medium, Briggs Heavy, Briggs Masters, Margay Ignite, Margay Ignite Heavy and Masters, and the Vintage guys will be back once again, which is awesome. Online entry now open at quincygrandprix.com, and all entries to come in before January the 1st are entered in for a drawing for a new 40-inch 4K smart TV. So a little extra there if you get yourself entered before the end of the year. But David, this is one of those bucket list races, isn't it? Like, I know I got to get you there pretty soon. When I drove it, it was amazing. It's just there's an atmosphere about the park and the city of Quincy and the people that come out to party, and it's I don't think there's anything like it in our sport right now. I'm hoping to try to get back there this year. My schedule's pretty nuts, but if there's a chance for me to go, I got to get back there because it's just such an amazing race.
I think it might just be cool to go watch, because I see all the spectators that they do have that go to this event. They have the VIP section right there at the start finish line with a nice tent with chairs and drinks and food, and everything. You know, it's almost like going to an IndyCar or NASCAR race. It's just it's a very cool little addition that they've added to the event, and or you just pull up a blanket, go sit at one of the corners and sit in the grass and kind of enjoy what the events as they unfold.
Let's talk about some kind of good news, David, over in Utah at Utah Motorsports Campus in Salt Lake City, just outside Salt Lake City. The club racing stuff kind of got put on a hold for a while, but we got news before the SuperNationals that local kart racing was coming back to the Utah Motorsports Campus. They got into a partnership with the World Karting Association. There's going to be 10 dates from March to October in 2020 where an actual kart racing program back at Utah Motorsports Campus.
Yeah, it's something I forgot to do because this kind of came out just as we were getting ready for our SuperNationals coverage. I forgot to ask our Utah friends what they thought of this program, but either way, it's still great that that kart racing is coming back to Utah. Obviously, last year the only thing that happened really racing wise was the Spring Nationals with Superkarts USA. Luckily, we'll be back there again in May for another return of the Spring Nationals back to Utah Motorsports Campus. But a 10 race program is scheduled for 2020 for a club race program through March to October. So 10 race weekends along with test and tune day before each round. So great to see racing back at Utah Motorsports Campus.
One of the bits of news that came out onto the website after we got home from the SuperNats was a new program from Racers 360. A guy that used to race karts with us for a long time, Dion Van Moltke, has got a program where he's put together like a personalized remote coaching service. So they have coaches that look over video. They've got their coaching program. They're expanding it into the karting market with some names that we definitely know. They've got plans to start around $99. Again, it's Racers 360. Chris Wareheim, one of the coaches, Dante Yu, Matt Jaskell, and another driver I've known for a long, long time out of Canada, Nelson Mason, who ended up doing a lot of Formula Car racing as well. Those are four of the coaches they have in the karting program. It's a pretty cool deal, in-depth video coaching. Same-day turnaround times can be available, but just an opportunity if you want to fine-tune what you're doing a little bit, not doing a full coaching program, but to fine-tune things. Racers 360 expanding into the karting world.
I think Matt Jaskell was winning races before Dante Yu was even born.
Yeah, I think he won at the 1999 SKUSA SuperNationals in junior.
I don't think Dante Yu's 20 yet, so that's.
I don't think he's 20. Maybe just. Hey, listen, Matt Jaskell's a guy that we've known for a long time.
Well,
not only is he,
I was going to say the reason I said that because it gives you the different age spectrum. You know, you have Jaskell who likes working with the gentleman drivers. Wareheim is kind of the in between. Maybe Dante Yu can work better with the cadet kids, or that stuff like that. So that's why I said it.
Well, one of the things about I'll throw it out there about Matt. One of the things about Matt is he's obviously a really well spoken man, right? He's raced so much stuff. Was in the Red Bull Formula One driver program, was working his way there, won the Formula BMW USA program. The Book It podcast I did. If you go back and listen to Matt, he gives you his whole story. But it's just a cool program for sure. Good to see those guys in there, and I'm a big believer in coaching because I think it's something. We talk a lot about the Al Rudolph Racing Academy. If you really want to move up or take your driver to the next level, you don't need to be buying that little 0.2 of a second. Whatever the new component is. Really invest in your driver. That's the one thing we talk about with Rudolph all the time as well. Now, hey, listen, let's cap off this particular segment, David, with kind of a move in the industry at this point here, learning that Stockholm Karting Center had actually purchased Kartlift kart stands from Tim Coyen, who owned that company for over 16 years. Yeah,
effective October 16th, Stockholm Karting Center, Inc., with Todd Feshing taking over and leaving Tim Coyen with not a lot to do now.
Is he retired?
No. He still has his a little bit of manufacturing that he's going to be doing.
Woodworking, right? Too?
Yeah, woodworking, and so he still has that. Obviously, he's doing a lot with the USBKS program behind the scenes, and also as the lead announcer as well. So still keeping him busy and making sure that TJ Coyen's staying in the right path and not getting too crazy. So
So that move with Stockholm Karting Center Inc. taking over Kartlift Kart Stands was effective right in the middle of October. And again, you know what? We'll put a thank you out to Tim Coyne. He's been a huge supporter of ekartingnews.com. Kartlift Kart Stands has been one of our advertisers for many, many years, and we do appreciate Tim's friendship, number one, and his support of what we did. Now, Ted Fashing, as you said, the owner of Triple T Race Products and Stockholm Karting Kart Center in Kaikato, Minnesota, the new owners of Kartlift Kart Stands. So if you're a Kartlift customer, nothing's going to change. They're going to keep cranking out fantastic products. Just so you know, there is a new owner in that program. And
Tim has Deep Seat. I forgot Deep Seat products as well. So yeah,
that's true. Yep. You're right. You're right. All right, let's cap off, David. One more break in the action. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the editorial that we've been cranking out on the website. We'll review some of the podcasts you've been able to put together. We'll talk about what's coming up as well on the EKN Radio Network, and then we'll have maybe our first look at EKN Trackside Live program for 2020. Stay with us, folks. We're going to wrap up this edition of This Week in Karting when we come back.
The 2020 racing season is closing fast, and SuperKarts USA will press the reset button just after the new year for the third running of the SKUSA Winter Series. The program drew big numbers last year, and we expect solid growth for the coming edition. We're again setting up shop at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires, for two exciting doubleheader weekends on January 10 to 12 and February 7 to 9. All the SKUSA Pro Tour classes will be running at the Winter Series, so it's the perfect spring training for next year's National Championship Series. The weather will be ideal, so get out of the snow and join us for two fun weekends in South Florida. We'll have Pro and G1, G2 shifter featuring the IAME SSE 175cc engine and all the IAME X30, KA100, and Swift classes as well. We'll also be welcoming the popular Margay Ignite Challenge to the Winter Series for a little taste of Briggs 206 competition. Registration opens on December 1st. For more information, visit superkartsusa.com. And to learn more about the Margay Ignite program, check out ignitekarting.com.
If you want to drive the best, drive a CRG. Our countless race wins and championships prove this fact, including taking the KZ Finals at the SKUSA SuperNationals and the CIK World Championships in both 2016 and 2017. Our material is second to none. After years of independent American importers, CRG is now managed directly by the factory and run out of our state-of-the-art headquarters in Texas. CRG Nordam is the American arm of the CRG factory in Italy, and we're serious about success. We stock a wide variety of parts in all of our chassis, from the CRG Hero for the mini categories, to the Heron for tag race, the Road Rebel for gearbox competition, and the new FS4, which has been designed specifically for American 4-cycle Briggs racing. If you're ready to step up to the national level, do it with a factory race team that competes across the USA. CRG Nordam is a full factory effort with the best personnel and the finest equipment. We're serious about winning, and you should be too.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, trying to wrap up this edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 16. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. David, man, the editorial never ends with us. We're focused on keeping content coming, whether it's written, whether it's audio, whatever it may be. We did some video, obviously our EKN Debrief Lives from the SuperNats, very well received. That was a ton of fun. But man, we had the editorial cranking over the last month. I started things off with an article that I wrote about Track Magic being back, the return of the legend. You were knocking out Driver of the Month. Evan Stammer winning Driver of the Month in September. Jordan Pryor, Driver of the Month in October. Just a ton happening.
Yeah, Evan Stammer winning 2 rocks at the Rock Island Grand Prix in Briggs competition. And we kept with the Briggs side of everything in October, going with Jordan Pryor, the winner of the CIK Medium category at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, able to win over the 72 driver field in that race. So 2 Briggs racers getting the nod for Driver of the Month in September and October.
We knocked out a couple more of our EKN on tracks. David and I getting a chance to do some racing earlier in the year, so we kind of wrote that up. I had a chance to drive a Burrell Art RY30 with the Vortex VLR 100 power for Andy Saisman at the final round of the Challenge of the Americas at Sonoma. Had a ton of fun with that engine package. The Burrell felt really good there. Sonoma's just a fun track to drive, but no doubt about it, that VLR 100, obviously very similar to the KA. First time I'd had a chance to drive it. It was actually, David, the first time I'd driven a 2-cycle kart like that, like actually raced one. I know we drove the Rotax a number of years ago. First time I'd driven one in, I think, almost 10 years, to be honest.
100cc, yeah.
100cc, yeah. I hadn't driven one in ages. It was fun.
It's been, I think, since 2015 that we did the on tracks with the Yamaha program with Comet racing engines, and we did a lot of different chassis that year. I think that was the last year I was actually in a Yamaha.
We got to do more of that. You and I both actually knocked out our on-track articles driving the Comet Eagle at the Brickyard, Battle of the Brickyard, the Briggs 206 class, kind of wrapped up how the action went for us, the feeling of the event itself. It was good to be able to, that's what I love about these on-tracks. We live it, right? You're there, we're driving, you and I both have the passion for it. And just, man, when you get out of the cart at the scales, you're so pumped. But then you get to write about it. And, you kind of relive how the weekend went. I remembered how damn hot it was at the Brickyard, how I was exhausted going back and forth from carts. I'm working on the Margay Ignite one as well. It's almost done. I'll wrap it up and probably have it out on the website next week. But, man, the Brickyard was a ton of fun, and I will drive a Comet Eagle anytime. A kart felt so good.
Kart felt good. Engine was fast. The seat was even better with that Beasley seat. It just kind of formed. It fit me. It really did. And I don't think there's another seat out on the market like it. And it was a enjoyable time to be with Mark Dismore and Gary Lawson and the Dismore family under there, and Comet Racing family. So fun time there. Thankfully we don't have rain next year. So it won't make things a little bit crazy and chaotic there.
Hey, let's give a shout to Colton Smith, too, our mechanic.
And Colton, we didn't keep him busy. We didn't have a lot to do.
Nope.
He just helped us push up and push back, and probably one of the more relaxing weekends he had. So
I did knock out a couple of morning coffees as well over the last month. I wrote an article about the Cup Karts North America being part of something special. I talked about how those Grand Nationals were awesome. I also wrapped up a morning coffee right after the SKUSA SuperNationals, essentially just kind of some of my thoughts. You can find those, of course, on the website. We'll blast them out more on our social media. Kind of gave us, David and I, a break right after the SuperNationals. We did the debrief the week afterwards. We had race reports from the LAKC, Los Angeles Karting Championship, their final round. What else did we do? We had obviously our race coverage of the Rock the Rio and the SKUSA SuperNats. David, we also got one of our Mechanics Minutes articles from Dan Schlosser from the Rock Cup Super Final.
Yeah, he was with Luca Mars through the FIA Academy Trophy program, and unfortunately, because Luca had a broken wrist, was not able to make the final round of that program. So we asked him to provide us some words from the Rock Cup Super Final, which was in October, as it was Luca's actual return race back from the broken wrist. So really cool. Again, got to go to different events and kind of see the events through not a driver, but the guy who helps get everything put together and make sure the driver's fast on the racetrack.
Yeah, I love the different vantage point, right? It's a totally different mindset when you're the mechanic, when you're the driver. I love it, and Dan does a great job with those editorial pieces. One of the things we do here with the EKN Radio Network, folks, is you know, if you're a regular listener, the first opportunity to listen to any of our content is streamed live on the radio networks. Just like listening to terrestrial radio, you can't stop it, you can't start it. It's strictly radio. We do that for the first 4 or 5 days, and then David will turn it into a podcast later on. But the first time is to have the streaming 24/7 EKN Radio Network content. Since our last podcast, or since our last This Week in Karting podcast, David knocked out that particular episode 13, turned it into a podcast. We had our new Outlap preview podcast as well. We did 2 episodes to preview the Super Nationals. That's something you're going to see continue for 2020. We will be doing an outlap for all the major events that we go to, kind of previewing what's going to be happening on track. We also had our EKN debrief of both the Rock the Rio and the SKUSA SuperNationals. That's episodes 59 and 60. Those are all now available on either iTunes or Google Play, Spotify. You can also, obviously, just go to ekartingnews.com/podcast. All our content available there as well. Of course, coming up soon, we're going to have the Industry Insider that I did with Andy Saisman. That'll be available as a podcast soon. And give us a couple of days, we'll get this one available as a podcast as well. EKN Radio Network, more coming here. It's the only karting radio station in the sport, folks. 24 hours, 7 days a week. Nothing but karting content, whether it's some of the play-by-play that we do, whether it's the archived race reports, whether it's all our podcasts. We got another one coming up. I'm going to try to sit down with Greg Jasperson from Cup Karts North America. I want to talk to him about 2020. We talked about him today, but I got to talk to him a little bit, find out what's going on. What plans do they have potentially for the Grand Nationals? As I said, I'm going to try to sit down as well with Gary Carlton. He and I are trying to find a time. He's nonstop prepping that short run of 10 Track Magic carts to get them to their owners, but he's also prepping to head to Florida for the Florida Winter Tour and, of course, the Challenge of the Americas as well. And then, as David and I said, David, you and I are going to be lining up right before Christmas. We'll do an outlap of the WK Daytona Kart Week. We'll talk everything. We'll talk Manufacturers Cup. We'll talk road race a little bit. I'll let you run with that. But another outlap coming before the end of the year.
Yeah, I have some ideas that we'll bring to the outlap episode. Hopefully, it'll be interesting and new and give everybody a little bit more insight and more voices instead of listening to just me and you.
That's exactly. I like that idea too. And listen, eventually we'll get off our asses and get one of these roundtables put together. We've just been flat out, but I've been in touch with a couple of guys. We're going to come up with some ideas. We're going to put some questions out there on social media. You tell us what you think the topics need to be about a roundtable. We'll bring some industry experts in, and we'll get everybody's feeling on that. What we are going to be doing as we wrap things up here right now is looking forward to 2020. The EKN Trackside Live Tour for 2020 will again be presented by Cooper Tires. Thank you very much to Chris Pantani and everybody for Cooper Tires for their second year of support here in 2019. We're excited to get back at it again. Not sure yet of the entire schedule. Got to lock things down to find out exactly where we're heading. But we do know for sure, David, that in January, the 10th, 11th, and 12th, Alicia and I will be at the SKUSA Winter Series race at Homestead. And then you and I heading to Tucson for the opening round of the Challenge of the Americas on January 24, 25, 26. Another season of live coverage on the EKN Radio Network.
The challenge. Yes, looking forward to it. Tucson, some Mexican food, some In-N-Out food.
Well, listen,
you can't tell. I don't know why I'm hungry, but I keep talking food.
Saisman brought it up because I think it was Mark Michione that had posted something on one of the Facebook threads about me doing a smash burger deal, and I had said that we're going to get one of those small little 17-inch Blackstone griddles, and I'll do some smash burgers for the FTK crew.
Well, Andy's got the new trailer now, so I believe it has room for that.
There you go. It's not very big, man. There's a lot.
No. And he has the containers that carries the tires. It'll be a good thing.
I'll knock out like 20 or 30 burgers for the boys and girls under the FTK tent, and we'll have some fun and have a couple of cocktails and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, not 150. No.
God, no. Dude. Listen, that's going to be coming out too, folks. You'll see this soon. I've actually been in touch. We finally have all the money in. We'll be in touch with the folks we actually just reached out to the folks from Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. Our burger smash that we did at the Cup Karts North America, we'll have a full piece on the website on it. We ended up raising $4,000. So we'll be sending a check for $4,000 to them, which is awesome. We really appreciate it. You as well, David. You and me and Alicia smashed out, 150 burgers in 2 hours. We're looking for more next year when we go back for another edition because I think I've got a couple of guys that are going to help us out trackside. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but it was cool to be able to raise that much money.
I think Mike Adams might even be one of them helping out. He's getting some practice in. I mean, he's doing pretty good.
I think Mike's going to want to be come to play for sure as well, and one of the racers as well, Ryan Pickering, who works for St. Elmo's and Burger Study, he wants to come on board as well. So, man, we got some burger experts coming to this.
It could almost be a contest.
Listen, enough competition between you and I on the weekend.
Well, no. I didn't say between me and you. I meant us versus others.
No, you know what? No? We're all going to work together. One cause. We'll get 3 griddles out there. We'll make it happen. We need 3 griddles because 150 was about the most we could do in 2 hours. If we get 3 griddles, maybe 2 griddles. If we get 2 griddles, I'd like to see if we could knock out maybe 200, 250 this year.
Yes, it'll be a bigger assembly line, so the line waiting for the burgers won't be so long.
All I know this for sure, Dave, is we smelled like burgers even in the morning. My hat smelled like hamburgers when we were driving back to the racetrack.
Oh, everything smelled like burgers because when we came back to the house, it smelled like burgers and made the house smell like burgers. And I don't think I didn't smell like burgers until I got home and washed everything.
Well, thankfully, we had laundry at the Airbnb, because otherwise everything I would smell like a smash burger all weekend. But that's not the worst thing in the world. That's a pretty nice cologne, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is it race gas a good a good scent, or is it smash burger?
I think a little smash burger. You dab a little bit on that on Renee's cheek. She'll be happy as heck.
Well, she doesn't. No, it doesn't work for her. No.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap this thing up. This has been episode number 16 of the This Week in Karting podcast here on the EKN Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're listening to this on the way home from work or on the way to work. When you do that, do us a favor. Just jump on social media, say, hey, guys, I'm listening to the new podcast, love it, or hate it, whatever it may be. Give us some input, but just let us know where you're listening from. It doesn't take much to jump on social. Take a picture of of your radio or whatever you got in the car. Let us know you're listening. We'd love to hear it. We're done for today, folks. Lots more to come still, though. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden.